Brad wasn't supposed to talk today, but he's had a long day and we don't want to keep him here all night.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And get him in and out first.
All right, good evening. As everybody knows, about 6:41 this morning, we were paged out for a reported structure fire at WW Feeds along Highway 50. With the weather today, the smoke didn't travel up very high, so it was kind of hard to see, but when I left my house from Swink, I live on Reynolds, I turned on to Highway 50. I could see the smoke from Swink, so I knew we had an issue. It kind of looked like a cloud, but the way it was moving, that was kind of a big issue. Our biggest threat when we first got there was, or on the way there, was a dust explosion. Because in these types of settings with fertilizer, grains, things like that, once it heats up and starts mixing with the other stuff in the air, there is a potential for a blast, almost like a bomb. We were lucky enough, nothing of that happens, but got there. We called for mutual aid right away because I knew my manpower wasn't going to build out into this big building, but we had heavy fire and heavy smoke showing throughout the whole building. That building's very old. I was told this morning somewhere around 1910 on the original part of the building, and I guess it used to be used as a hotel along the railroad stop and a restaurant, and then they used it for a place to water horses and animals on the trains. So this building has been around a long time. Then of course they added on, what's that?
I believe it's 1890s.
Is it late? 1890s? I'm still a little lightheaded. No.
I was there. It was 1890.
Okay, if Mr. Maloff is there, it was a long time. Anyway, we called in surrounding agencies. I have fire departments from Manzanola, Rocky Ford, Chirac, and Los Animas. These guys from Los Animas, they jumped right away and said, hey, we'll come help you and cover your city. So not only did I have them for helping to fight fire, but they were also helping to cover any other calls that we had in the city. So that's just kind of things that we do. What we encountered inside was heavy fire conditions, heavy heat. And when I talk heavy heat, I'm talking almost 2,000 to 2,200 degrees temperature. When my crews made it inside, we tried to go in through the office upstairs to try to hopefully stop the fire advancing in. They used a thermal imager, and it was 2,200 degrees when they opened that upstairs door. Our gear's only protected and rated for about 2,000 degrees, and they could feel the heat coming through their gear. So my lieutenant who was in there, Lieutenant Childers, made the decision to back out. We went totally defensive. I will announce right now I had no injuries of either firefighting personnel or civilians, so that was a huge plus for our city. The water department came up big. We were flowing off of 3 different hydrants off of Highway 50. It's a 16-inch main that runs down Highway 50 from what I'm being told. And those 3 hydrants, one located at Asian Cafe, one located at Safeway, and one located at Napa. We tapped all 3 of those hydrants and we never lost water pressure one time. So kudos to our water department and what they've done, and you guys as a council of what you've been able to do to help them. The other big problem was the building was built with lots of tin and lots of heavy construction, lots of big timbers. So it's not normal 2x4 construction. We're talking 4x10s and big heavy construction. So that aided a big issue. And we also had a basement in that building where they store grain. So I couldn't put anybody inside and put it on the floor because we added weight and things like that. The other issue that I had was trying to get through that tin and everything else. I asked for assistance from our city street department and water department to bring me tractors. That was probably one of the biggest assets that I had out there today because they were able to peel that building apart, unfortunately to tear it apart, or we'd probably still be there putting fire out today, right now. They were able to pull the walls down and the ceilings down, and without the aid of us working with our closer departments, it would have been unbearable. Electric department was called in, shut down the power lines. About an hour into it, and we got a phone call that said that they were receiving a burglar alarm at the same location. So I had the electric lines come back, or the electric guys come back out, shut down more lines. So it was back feeding is what it was doing. We're also right by a service line that runs to the industrial park. So we had 4 lines that could be up to 69,000 volts each if we hit it with water. So we also had that challenge. Law enforcement stepped up big by shutting down Highway 50, and I want to say thank you to the whole community for working with us on that, because I did have to have it shut down eastbound and westbound for quite a while. That was just due to the safety. We had hose lines stretched across the roads. I had fire trucks. I had people everywhere. So the other big thing, the community reached out to us. The people from the Catholic Church brought us food. And I'm not just talking like burritos. They made goulash. They made biscuits. They made fried chicken. They made green beans, things like that. And then they brought it to us at the fire. Safeway donated donuts and water. McDonald's donated sandwiches and coffee. We had other people showing up with coffee. I know everybody says this, but this shows how tight our community is. I can tell you, talking to other fire chiefs around the state, this doesn't happen in big cities. We don't have the outpouring support. So I want to say thank you to our community and to you guys as well for that.
And how about that new truck?
I'll tell you about that new truck. That new truck, that was its very first fire, a true fire. And I don't know why it had to be such a big fire, but that truck stood up and we put it up in the air, and the benefit of having that type of ladder with two nozzles and being able to flow the water that we did, we were flowing right under 1,500 gallons a minute out of both nozzles. That's a lot of water that's coming out of that, and that aided us in being able to fight the fire from the air and the roof line and things like that without having to put any of my guys in jeopardy of being on the roof themselves. So that's a huge asset that this community now has.
That's why we bought it, to keep
And-
everybody safe.
That's
and
right.
make sure
And
that we fight these.
the surrounding departments were just in awe that it worked so well, and we know that we're going to be able to go help them sometime soon. Right now,
But Brad, you know,
you
even
need,
more,
to, you need to turn your mic
even
on.
for that, there's more. You know, when the structure went at steam, third and steam, and we all saw it, you had a fireman crawl up that ladder with a hose, and then he has a hose going out. Now, this is trying to blow him backwards where he's trying to put pressure in it. The new truck has the bucket, and then now they got two hoses coming off of it, and that guy, he's directing where these go, not trying to aim it, trying to stay up on the ladder. You don't have to replace them as much. It was such a better operation.
It was safer. My guys that were up there in the bucket, they were up there for probably 5 hours straight and didn't need a break because they were secured. They were able to stand up and they didn't have to fight the pressure back and forth. So that was a huge deal. So thank you to the city council for letting me buy this truck. This thing's been top notch.
And thank you to the citizens for supporting us on buying these equipment.
Exactly.
We know that financially it's tough, but that's why we do it,
Yeah.
is to keep our community safe.
I can say with our fleet that we have right now, it was very easy to manage these trucks personnel-wise, and the load that they pulled today of pumping water with no problems. We didn't have any mechanical problems while we were on the ground, knock on wood, but we didn't have anything happen today. So they sat there, those trucks just sat there and worked right along. So with cooperation of you and the Lahana Rural Fire District, thank you. That goes out to a huge thing. My heart goes out to the owners of WW Feeds, unfortunately. The fire cause is still under investigation, probably will be for a little while. We know where the fire kind of started, but we don't know what caused the fire. So that's about all I can release on that right now. But that's my update. It was a challenge, and I would say it was probably one of the bigger challenge structure-wise in my 24-year career.
What time did you get the call, Brad?
6:41
What
this
time were
morning.
you on scene?
My first truck was on scene within 2.5 minutes. So that's better than the NFPA average response. Having the guys here on duty round the clock, that's the best thing we could do, because they rolled both trucks. I had 2 trucks on scene within 2.5 minutes. I was on scene right under 3 minutes. Yes, I made it from Swink under 3 minutes, Paul. But we started fighting fire right away. We had water on it right away, but it had been burning, I'm guessing, probably 3 to 4 hours easily inside before it was noticed. Because of the way that building was built and the construction inside, I think it was smoldering to where I could see the fire starting and where it started. I saw the videos from some people driving by, and it's right in the area that I guess. So it doesn't look suspicious at this time, but that's what I can release right now. I did talk to Tom Seba this afternoon. He's going to get us a total water amount that we did flow. We're probably looking at somewhere 180,000 gallons to probably 220,000 gallons if we had to guess right. We had a lot of water, but unfortunately, it's that time of the season for harvest where they're delivering grain, and all the grain bins were full, and they had a lot of stock inside. So unfortunately, that's a huge loss that they're gonna have to deal with. And I know that place just didn't serve La Junta, but it served surrounding people from all over to come to WW Feeds. So it's gonna be a big hurt on everything. So especially in a landmark. It was sad to see that building like it is right now. It'll probably be like that. It will be an eyesore for a couple weeks, I'm sure. There's a whole insurance process it's got to go through before they can start cleaning up. So just bear with us, work with us a little bit, and we'll help them any way we can. The building to the west of it, at the west end, the 2-story grain bin area, that's still not 100% stable. There was 3 semi-loads of grain in there, and unfortunately the fire did get up in there too, and those were smoldering areas, so we had to put an ungodly amount of water on it to try to put it out, so it's really unstable right now. So please, if you see anybody out and around it or anything like that, call law enforcement, let them know so they can make sure they're not rummaging through their stuff, because there's no really way to secure it, but also it's a safety feature right now too.
Was there a basement?
There was a basement. It was about 3/4 of the building long, probably anywhere from 3 feet to 5 feet in places, and it was completely full of grain, unfortunately. They did lose a lot of product in there. But like I said, I don't know if you saw our spaghetti mess of hoses down there, but it took us probably 2.5, 3 hours to pick up all of our hose. But when you lay hydrants for over 1,000 feet, you're going to have a lot of hose. But tell you what, BNSF worked with us pretty well, having some close ties on their police department now. I make one phone call and they take care of shutting down lines and trains and everything for us, because we did have trains running right behind the building for a little bit. But we got Amtrak on their way about 40 minutes late, I think, but we did get them out of town, so they stayed on track. But no issues there as well.
Brad, thank you very much, and your crew did fantastic.
I wanted to bring this up real quick, if you don't mind, Mayor. About 5 months ago, I did a training with all my staff. We picked 4 buildings. I picked 4 buildings along Highway 50 to do a pre-plan. What I did is each shift, I handed them a piece of paper and said, this is the time of day, this is the type of fire you have at this location. How would you respond and set up your trucks? And I did not think that we would have to be using it this soon, but by doing that type of training, not only along Highway 50, but other places around town, it aided in our response and aided in our attack on the fire, because we didn't have a lot of chaos on scene at first of trying to get trucks in different places. They knew right where to go. And my hat goes off to my crew and all the crews coming in, but my crew especially, of getting there, putting their trucks where they needed to go, and it just worked like clockwork. So kudos to my guys. I want to make sure they know that from me, that I have 100% belief in every single one of them, and I'll never change that. So I was asked earlier today by Mr. Jackson. I like to bounce ideas off of Mr. Jackson because my dad trained him how to fight fires and stuff like that. And I wouldn't change a bit on any of my tactics that I made today, my decisions I made, or apparatus I have there today. We feel like we got beat a little bit, but that's just in the fire service. That's how it is. We're not going to stop every fire, but I wouldn't change anything that I did today. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to the community for their full support on this. We wish the best of luck for the WW Feed family and all of their patrons as well. So I'll answer any other questions if you guys have anything else.
Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for letting me do this. It's a fun job. I wouldn't change it for the world.
You people, man, thanks. Great job.
Yeah, I will. Thank you guys. Joe, thank you very much.
Thanks, Fred.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, go Broncos. Okay.